The average person is said to spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. Why not take advantage of that time and learn something new? Presenting the 15-minute podcast on weird facts, crazy details, and funny particulars that you'll be able to enjoy while you're taking a on your free time. Welcome to This Shit with Sam Butler. Welcome to another episode of the Shit Podcast. We have a very special guest, a good friend of mine. You've seen him here before. Osvaldo Esparza, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me back, Mr. Sam. Thank you. Third time.
Third time's
a charm.
There's going to be more.
Yeah.
We'll do the 6th time, the 9th time.
Cool.
Hopefully, as long as y'all keep watching these episodes, we'll keep making them. Thank you guys for all your support. With that being said, we're going to start this episode. And we did an episode in Spanish on Friday. It'll come out on Friday. This one's on Tuesday. And this is kind of like a second part of that episode. Okay. We talked about Victor Ochoa, the Mexican inventor, who was also a revolutionary, who was also a newspaper guy, who was also an aeronautics guy.
A genius,
a tool guy. He was also fugitive, and he would escape. And so very interesting topic. And I thought, okay, I want to keep going with the topic, but here we're going to talk about stuff that was invented by accident.
Okay.
Things that you would think were made on purpose, but they were actually invented by accident.
Cool. Which ones they are?
Okay. We're going to start out with a toy that is very popular, very famous. And the best example that I can think of about this toy, it's called the Slinky.
Okay, cool.
Right? I don't know if it's real popular here in Mexico, but in the U.S. it was very popular, a very simple tool, very simple toy. But I can remember the movie Ace Ventura.
Oh, yeah. And stairs.
On the stairs.
On the big pyramid.
Yeah, right? The big pyramid, he lets it drop. And then he gets to the bottom, he's like, one more step. Right? That's like the best example. I think there was a Slinky also on Toy Story.
Yes.
Right? But it was a dog, right? It was a Slinky dog. Well, the Slinky was invented by Richard Jones. What do you think Richard Jones did for a living?
He invented the Slinky. He probably... I don't know, probably he made stairs or something.
Stairs? Yeah, no. Richard Jones was a naval engineer.
Okay.
What was he trying to make? A meter designed to monitor power on naval battleships.
Okay.
Right? So he was working with tensions and springs for this meter, and one of them fell to the ground. The spring kept bouncing from place to place after it hit the ground, and the Slinky was born. So that's how
nice.
A guy was making a tool for ships and discovered that this particular type of spring was fun to play with. Slinky was born. Penicillin.
Also?
No, this is a different inventor. We're going to talk about different things. He did penicillin too. Let me tell you about naval engineers and prostitutes. There's a need for penicillin.
I need something to stretch my thing with. So.
The Slinky got him so much action that he actually needed to come up with something.
But you used it before condoms were
before
made.
Condoms, yeah. Penicillin. The inventor was Sir Alexander Fleming. He was a scientist. Obviously, I don't think anybody stumbles upon penicillin. What he was trying to make, ironically, he was searching for a wonder drug that could cure diseases. However, it wasn't until Fleming threw away his experiments and he found what he was looking for. How was it? He noticed that a contaminated petri dish he had thrown away already, contained mold that was dissolving all the bacteria around it. When he grew the mold by itself, he learned that it contained a powerful antibiotic, penicillin.
Nice.
So he's thrown away stuff. He says, none of this crap works. He realizes that the bacteria is dying in one of those dishes, and it's mold, which is ironic because every time we ever had moldy cheese growing up, my mom would say, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's penicillin. Just cut it off. Nothing will happen. It's penicillin.
Right.
She wasn't wrong. I don't know. The next invention, chocolate chip cookies.
What?
Yeah, chocolate chip cookies were invented by accident, which is crazy because it's one of the most popular cookies in the market, right?
So I guess he had a bunch of chocolates and then it got in the dough or something?
Kind of. What happened, Ruth Wakefield, the owner of the Toll House Inn, which is ironic. I mean, there's Toll House chocolate chip cookies still, and they're delicious, right? Well, apparently there was an inn called the Toll House, which is like a hotel or a bed and breakfast. What she was trying to make was regular chocolate cookies. And while mixing a batch of cookies, she discovered that she didn't have baker's chocolate.
Okay.
So what she did is she took some sweetened chocolate, and she figured that if she broke it into small pieces, it would melt and create a chocolate cookie. But she didn't realize that those small pieces got hard and then they just stayed in the dough. And that's how chocolate chip cookies were born.
And then she tried them and like,
they're like, "Whoa,
this is the best
this is the best ever," you know. So it says here she expected it to melt, but the little bits stuck, and that's how we got. And I mean, if you've ever gone and gotten the chocolate chips for the chocolate chip cookies, those are they're like little Hershey's Kisses. They're amazing, right? They're Hershey's Kisses without all of the wrapper, which is amazing, you know.
Yeah, but they have a certain taste.
They have a taste. Yeah, they're not so sweet. They're not as sweet as Hershey's, but it was an accident.
They're kind of dark too, right? Like a dark flavor.
Yeah, like dark, semi-sweet, I think they call it. Something else that was created by accident: potato chips. Also, the inventor George Crumb, a chef at the Carrie Moon Lake House in Saratoga Springs. Saratoga Springs is in New York, upstate New York. What they were trying to make was a plate of fried potato. How it was created: one day a customer sent back his plate of potatoes many times and kept asking them to be more fried.
Okay.
Right?
So he said, "Yo, I want them fried."
Yeah, they're not fried enough. It's funny because I went to a restaurant one time, and you know the hash browns? I saw a lady get so upset that her hash browns were not cooked enough, right? Or they were, and then you go, who cares? Eat the hash brown. Well, apparently this is what happened. The guy was like, it's not fried enough. And so he sent his plate so many times that Crumb, which ironically the guy's name is Crumb, which means migajas, right?
Yeah.
Lost his temper. So he got mad and he sliced the potatoes really thin and threw them in oil and fried them until they were as hard as a rock. That was like, there you go. And surprisingly, the customer loved them. And that's how the potato chips were born.
That's cool.
Which I think modern potato chips are different than they were back when they started potato chips, because if you ever have like I like the chips here in Mexico, the chips that are like deep fried, they're like really hard. Those are delicious.
Oh yeah, chips, yes.
Especially the jalapeno ones.
Because they said that those are like homemade or something.
Like homemade, and I think that's what that was. When he made those chips, I think that's exactly what that was.
I think it depends on where you cook them or something like that.
Like a kettle, right?
Yes, there you go.
Kettle cooked. Yeah. But that's how the potato chip was born. How they make Lay's and all these other thinner, not so hard potato chips, I don't know. But I really like the kettle cooked old school.
Probably was another one that complained they were too hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Give me another one.
Probably his wife. Oh, it hurts my dentures. You know. The Pacemaker. Marcapasos, right? The inventor, John Hobbs, an electrical engineer. He was trying to make. He was trying to figure out how to help people that were victims of hypothermia, right? Okay. People that had frozen. So he was trying to use radio frequency and heat to restore body temperature. Well, during his experiment, he realized that if a heart stopped beating because it was cold, it could be started again by an artificial stimulation. This realization led to the pacemaker.
Nice. So that's funny because Hobbs, that's Brincos, right? Like,
yeah, Hopkins.
It's Hobbs.
John Hobbs. That's true.
Crumb is
Crumb is the guy with the chips. I didn't even realize that Hobbs jumpstarts your heart.
Right.
It hops it back into position. You know.
That's cool.
Are you familiar with silly putty?
Yes, sir. Like the plastilina,
Kind of. Well, in Mexico, it wasn't really that big of a hit, was it? Silly putty?
No, I mean, yeah, you had to go to. Like in my case, I had to go to El Paso to get it. I couldn't get it.
You couldn't really get it here?
No.
But I never really got into silly putty. I mean, I know that the kids of that was like, if you had a starter pack, a kid starter pack in the 1980s, you had Silly Putty in there. The Slinky, Silly Putty, a BMX bike. I mean, these were all things that
It was
we
like
had.
a little red container, right?
It was a little like egg, right?
Yeah, it's a little red.
Little egg, and it was this rubber product.
Yes.
For all my friends in Latin America that are listening to, it was like you said, it was like a clay, but it was a rubbery clay, right? Well, Silly Putty was invented by accident. James Wright, an engineer at General Electric, invented it. During World War II, the United States government needed rubber for airplane tires, boots for soldiers, and different things. So he was trying to make a rubber substitute out of silicone. So it's a silicone-based product. And since it was widely available, he figured, let's do tests on silicone. During a test of silicone oil, Wright added boric acid to the substance. The result was a gooey mess that bounced. Although no one could find any real use for it, it became a toy.
I want to say, well, how do you say, oh, this is going to be fun for a toy?
That was the thing as a kid. I was like, what is it for? And they're like, you can bounce it. And I was like, yeah, but you can bounce a ball. Like, why would you,
Let's get a ball.
And I know a lot of my friends would take the Silly Putty and they'd put it over newspaper.
Yeah, and then it would.
Right? And then it would transfer the ink onto the Silly Putty. And I thought, well, that's good for about 2 minutes. And then what else? What else are we gonna do? I was also very hyper, like I'm ADHD. I had to be doing something, so that was not something that interested me at all. I was not interested in just. I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's like a limit to the putty. What can?
And then after a while, it got so much ink, it didn't bounce anymore. Remember that?
Yeah,
like it got
dirty.
dirty.
Got dirty, yeah, and it got dirt in it or little rocks and stuff.
I actually enjoyed the sticky hands a lot more than I did the putty. When the sticky hand came out, it was amazing because you'd flick it at your brother's face and it would smack him.
Yeah,
you'd grab stuff with it. It was amazing.
And probably that thing, it was made by a guy that was so lazy that he didn't want to make the high five. So there you go.
Yeah. No, I think they just figured out that I like the hand, the sticky hand. That was a fun toy to play with. I could see how I could stick it to stuff. I could spend hours just sticking it to stuff.
Just bringing the beer.
But the point of that is that it got dirty after a while. So you'd take it into the sink and you'd put some soap, some dish soap, and then wash all the dirt off, and it gets sticky again. It was amazing. I don't know if you could do that with Silly Putty or not. If you could do that with Silly Putty or not, let us know. Microwave ovens.
What?
Yeah, they were invented by accident. Percy Spencer, an engineer with the Raytheon Corporation. Now, Raytheon makes missiles. All those missiles that are bombing the world,
yes,
they're made at Raytheon, right? They're really good at making missiles. What he was trying to make, he was conducting a radar-related research project with a new vacuum tube. How it was created, he realized that the candy bar in his pocket began to melt during his experiments. Could you imagine how toxic his work environment was? He's sitting there making stuff and it's like, oh, the Snickers got all gooey. Hey,
my mouth is getting the same.
Yeah, we're on to something here, It's like my skin's melting off, my jaw is falling off, but hey, it's cool.
But he had a bag of corn in his pockets.
Actually, that's exactly what he did.
What?
He put popcorn into the machine, and when it started to pop, he's like, I got something here, And so that's how he invented microwave. And it's a vacuum tube, which I think when you put your food inside of a microwave, you're creating that environment.
Yeah.
So
But it's funny that if you put an egg, it's gonna break and stuff like that.
Yeah. When was your first experience with microwave?
Oh my God. Well, I guess popcorn. I mean, I think everyone
how old were you when you guys had a microwave?
I don't remember. I don't know.
But I was probably, when we first got a microwave, I was probably 9 years old. Like
around that
mid 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember
it was a big thing.
Yeah, it was a huge thing on the counter, right? But I remember I was amazed by the microwave. It was just amazing to take something, put it in for a minute. And I remember I tried everything you could think of. I got hot dogs and I would wrap them in cheese, put them on a bun, and next thing you know, the hot dogs, I would put them in for 5 minutes. Things would be shredded. You'd be like, whoa, how does that work? That's amazing.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, it was incredible that you can make popcorn in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we
used to have to do it with a pan.
Or
we used to take a saucepan, throw it in there, throw a stick of margarine in there, with the lid, and you'd sit there, and
then you'll get it like burnt or
it's actually
dry.
But it's actually I like it better made like that.
Yeah,
but sometimes you don't have all that kind of time, so it's cool.
or you only had popcorn when you go to the movies back then. That's the only way that you could.
Yeah, you really. Well, we had. I grew up in El Paso. It was very common to have a popcorn popper.
Oh yeah,
that was the thing that just boil it and then it would come out of a chute into a bowl. That was a very popular thing in the 70s, and so that or the Jiffy Pop that came in an aluminum container. And it would, and then you'd open that thing up. That was probably dangerous. Third-degree burns. Saccharin.
Okay.
Saccharin is sweet and low.
Yes.
And sweet and low was discovered by accident. Yeah. Konstantin Fahlberg, he was a researcher at Johns Hopkins University. Now, what's incredible about that is Johns Hopkins University is like the foremost authority on cancer.
Okay.
Right? And now I think they say that saccharin produces cancer. So it's weird, right? Well, he was trying to make he was investigating the oxidation of toluene nusulfonamide.
What?
I don't know what that means. But how he created it, the discovery happened because he forgot to wash his hands. He had spilled a chemical on his hands in the lab that caused his bread to taste very sweet. What? And he immediately patented it and mass-produced the product.
What? So he wasn't scared at all. Oh, this is okay. It's only chemicals.
It's only chemicals, right? Isn't that like this? And I'm a big fan of saccharin. Like I like sweet and low, but out of all the fake sugars, I like the pink one, and they don't make that too much anymore. Like you can't find that everywhere.
Yeah,
they got like stevia or Splenda.
I have the yellow one, right?
The yellow one. Now the problem with Splenda is that Splenda is so synthetic that it actually makes you fatter.
Oh wow!
What they discovered was that Splenda is so fake that when you take it, your body doesn't know what it is.
Oh shit!
So it stores it as fat.
What?
How ironic that it goes, we don't know what this is. Cover it in fat and throw it in the fat pile. Throw it in the fat pile. Fireworks were invented by accident. According to a legend, because they don't know who did this, a cook was simply experimenting in the kitchen. He accidentally mixed together charcoal, sulfur, saltpeter, and some common kitchen items. And when the mixture was compressed into a bamboo tube, why he did that, nobody knows. It exploded.
Yeah.
Right.
I can see that.
Yeah. Are you familiar? That's how fireworks were born. A good invention. How about?
I guess it popped and then what happened? It was an accident. And
Scotchgard.
Scotchgard, okay.
Are you familiar with Scotchgard?
Is that the...
Scotchgard's that spray you spray on stuff that seals it, protects it.
Oh, okay.
Like on fabrics. You spray Scotchgard on a couch.
Okay, yeah.
Or on a mattress.
So if it spills something,
it doesn't absorb it, right? Well, Patsy Sherman, a chemist for 3M, was assigned to work on a project to develop rubber material that would not deteriorate from exposure to jet aircraft fuels. So this was actually something they were trying to develop for anti-corrosion from jet fuels, right? Oh, wow. She accidentally dropped the mixture. She was experimenting on her shoe, and while the rest of her shoe got dirty, that one spot stayed clean.
Okay.
And that was when she was like, whoa, what was that? And she went back and found what it was, which formula it was, and that's how it was born.
So that's the lady that to blame that when you buy shoes, they want to sell you that little can. The little can.
You know what? I bought that can one time. I like wearing Adidas shell toes. The 1980s, the 70s, 80s classic tennis shoe. I'm a 46-year-old dude. I'm 45. I'm going to be 46. And I thought, I like classic sneakers. So I bought Adidas shell toes, the white ones. Mm-hmm. And I wanted them to look clean. So I bought Scotchgard for them.
Okay.
Sprayed them down. Turned all the rubber yellow.
Oh.
So it was weird. I had like white leather, but with yellow rubber. It was like, I'm not doing that again. I'll just buy new shell toes. It's more embarrassing to have yellow shell toes than to have regular shell toes.
Because you use it for certain fabrics only, no?
Yeah, I mean, it said it's supposed to be used for your shoes, and I thought it would be good, but it did yellow all the white part of my sneakers. So I was like, I'm not doing that.
Bummer.
How about cornflakes? Cornflakes were invented by accident.
Oh, yeah. There's a movie about it.
Is it really?
Yeah, with Anthony Hopkins.
About cornflakes?
Well, it was Kellogg's, right? That was Kellogg's.
Kellogg's, yeah. I've never heard of that movie. I'm interested. Do you know anything about that movie, Ram? Anthony Hopkins about cornflakes? That'd be a cool movie to watch. I know about fiber beans. Yeah. Well, the Kellogg brothers, John and Will, what they were trying to make was a pot of boiled grain. The brothers, this is what got me. They accidentally left a pot of boiled grain on the stove for several days.
Incredible.
So they just left it on the stove. It doesn't say that it turned on, but they left it on the stove. The mixture turned moldy. But the product that emerged was dry and thick. So they look at something they left on the stove, and it's dry and thick, and they said, we could eat that.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. You know?
Moldy, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, through experimentation, they eliminated the mold part and created cornflakes.
Well, probably they all said, pues it's mold, it's antibiotic, or like the one that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, we're almost done. I got a couple more for all y'all that are sitting on the John right now and are complaining that your legs hurt. You can pause it and then watch this after you wipe, or you can sit on the John for a little bit more. We're almost done. LSD as a drug.
What?
Chris J. Albert Hoffman, a chemist. He was researching lysogeric acid derivatives, which is LSD, in a laboratory in Switzerland. He unintentionally swallowed a small amount of LSD while researching properties and had the first acid trip in history.
Like, this is going to be great.
Yeah, that was accidental, I'm sure. You know,
why are these people getting chemicals on their body, man?
I don't know.
I guess it was a thing back then.
I had some training when I was younger. I worked in a hospital, and they were talking about how old firefighters would test materials. Like they taste gasoline, go, oh, that's gasoline, right? And you're going like, really? And they taste chemicals, and they go, what's thinner, right? And you're going like, that's weird, right? Like how do you? Well, there was a story, and the whole point of the training was that there was a story where one firefighter, an old school firefighter, saw a train container, and he tasted it, and he was dead the next day.
No shit.
And I said, don't taste the train containers, you know? And that's how we learned, like, you got to be careful with chemicals. But apparently these guys didn't get the message.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
I just want chemicals in my
body. The one that got me was, this was like, to me was like, whoa, inkjet printers.
What?
Yeah. A Canon engineer. He was resting his hot iron on his pen by accident.
Okay.
And the ink was ejected from the pen's point a few moments later. So he heated the ink in his pen. It shot out. And so this principle made him think, we can make something that'll squirt ink. Inkjet printers.
What?
And this one was the one that I was like, whoa. Okay. So Spencer Silver, a researcher at 3M, created the Post-it note.
Oh, nice.
Right? And he was working on a stronger adhesive, and he actually made one that was weaker than the one he was trying to make better. So he found that it stuck to objects, but he could pull it off without leaving a mark. Years later, a friend of his put the substance on a piece of paper so he could mark the pages on his psalm book for church, on his choir hymn book, and he could peel it off and nothing happened. And that's how the idea was born for Post-it notes.
Wow. That's crazy.
That wraps up this episode of the Shit Podcast with accidental inventions, things that we are grateful that exist. I'm grateful microwave exists. That saves me a lot of time as a single dad.
I'm grateful for the LSD.
The LSD part.
I'm kidding.
Well, cheers to that. Yeah. But with that wraps us up. thank you guys for joining us again on another episode of the Shit Podcast. Thank everybody that leaves a comments. Leave comments. Let us know if there's other things that you found that are weird. We're willing to share them on our social media. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram as Super Osvaldo with a B as in Victor, Super Osvaldo, in the number 11 and one word. Yes. That's on Instagram, and on Facebook, I'm on Osvaldo Esparza.
Osvaldo Esparza, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me again. Yeah, it's an honor.
Thank you guys for tuning in on all the different platforms, Spotify, Anchor, Apple iTunes. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast in English. I know that a lot of our public is actually in Mexico and South America, so I appreciate you guys either tuning in or listening. Please leave your comments. Say hello. I will read all the comments. I'm willing to say hello back. Thanks. If you haven't joined the group, the official Facebook group is Los Cagadienses. Join us. I mean, leave some memes, leave some funny comments. It's a fun place to hang out. And with that, you can find me on social media as Tu Amigo Sam, Tu Amigo Sam, and also on my YouTube page as Tu Amigo Sam. Thank you guys, and that wraps us up for this episode of the Shit Podcast. Catch you on the next one.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.